G'day guys, this is part 2 of a 3-part series with Cezar Borkowski. Enjoy. Hi and welcome to Karate Over Coffee. My name is Shane McMahon and I'm your host. This is a podcast dedicated to my experiences in karate. I started karate as soon as I could walk. My parents owned a full-time dojo, so I literally grew up in the dojo as our house was on top. I've lived and breathed karate my whole life and I've trained with some really amazing sensei, competed for my country, and I've learned so much about the evolution and history of karate. And I'm here to share my experiences and learn. Enjoy. I have seen some of your gradings and wow, mate, so holy, just the amount of people at a grading. Like, you go to a basketball, or is it you get to a local school in the basketball stadium usually?
Usually do it at a university. It's a like a double gym with seating for a couple thousand people. So we usually fill it to capacity, and the fire marshal will come in and complain that they're going to shut us down. That's a good sign always that we're doing well.
Yeah, there's too many people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so out of the 14 schools, for example, do they do their own gradings in-house or Q grades, and then you do black belt gradings all together?
Okay. What we do is we do a dojo grading. So in a dojo, let's say you have 10 candidates in your dojo, and you'll do a grading and you'll decide 8 of them are worthy. Then we have an all dojo grading where they go to a large gym, and there's 4 stations, and they perform for different teachers of different dojos, and they have a card and everybody kind of scores. So you need specific average to pass for specific rank, and if you pass that, then you're going to graduation. So every dojo person grades, and usually not with their own teacher. So first you grade with your own teacher, then you grade with a teacher from another dojo or senior from another dojo.
Right. Okay.
It works quite well. Works fairly well. It's no system's ever perfect,
Yep.
But my whole thing is maintaining balance between good level of martial arts, but not to be almost abusive in some ways. And we always talk about personal best. So in addition to the quality of martial art technique, you have to think about can the student actually perform better? So I mean, we have a lot of older adults training. I have people in their 60s, 70s. I have a student who's 85. He still does 2-3 classes a week, and he's almost blind. And he's got limitations, things like that. But he trains hard. So the concept of what is excellent for him, he exceeds excellence just by showing up at 85, putting on his gi on. And we have little kids, so I'm not talking about black belt, but we have 3.5, 4-year-old children starting. So this whole concept of a yellow belt, perfect horse stance or this or that. At 3.5, there's no perfect anything, so
yeah.
My whole thing is that every belt, everything you're doing, stripes, we go, stars for specific merit things. It's just a tool to make a good black belt. So ultimately, those are not ranks. There's no yellow belt, there's no green belt, there's no blue belt. Those are all tools to make a very good black belt. And that's the whole thing, just how to make a good black belt. When you get a black belt from our schools, you become a Shodan Ho. And for a year, you don't get a certificate. So you get a plain black belt, nothing written on it. No, if you train regularly, you don't really retest per se, but the instructor is to give you a thumbs up. So number one is, we have a lot of teenagers training. And once they get a black belt, it's like, Mom, I got my black belt. I don't have to go to karate anymore,
Yeah.
So this whole concept, it takes one more additional year. And we try to work on new material, things like that, trying to make them stay. And of course, we have huge dropout rate at that age group and that level, because they've been trained 4, 5, 6 years, and karate, as exciting as it is, after 6 years, it's not as exciting as talking to your friends who are doing Instagram things or TikTok videos, whatever. It's really hard to keep somebody for 6, 7 years, and we do that. For adults, it's not a problem. We have adults who've been students with us for 30 years, and they're just regular students. They will renew their membership, line up, and train. With the kids, their attention span, if you will, and it's just in karate, we're competing with all these other things on the outside. They're just kind of vying for our students, So how do we fight those concepts, and how do we maintain the student? That's something that I wrestle with every day.
Mindset as well, karate first, business second. I teach karate commercially so I can improve my karate and teach more people karate and improve my own karate. And that way I get to train more rather than go work for 8 hours and then go and teach karate.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I couldn't have this beautiful podcast with my 15 listeners. So
we're going to double that.
We'll double it, yeah. Oh well,
we're going to double that.
I expect to have 11,000 listeners next week. So with how do you? Now this might be a personal question, but how are the dojos set up? Is it run and owned by the instructor, or is it a franchise?
It's neither nor and all of the above. Okay?
Perfect.
So first of all, like I said, we're connected. There's an individual owner, and sometimes they're owned with an instructor, and sometimes. First of all, any of our instructors who have their wives involved in the business of karate, they're also students, and most of our instructors met their wives on the dojo floor.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of female black belts, a lot of very senior black belts, and they're just as good as, if not better than the men technically, and they're all involved in that aspect. So first of all, there's no like the main teacher and his wife. They're both excellent martial arts people. So. So a lot of them are kind of family operated, where the kids actually work in the business as well. So the kids are instructors now as well.
Slave labor, excellent.
Yeah, and we have a group, and all the dojos pay a management fee, and so we have a cohesive system. It's not really a franchise per se. It's more owner operated, if you will. But I kind of drive the group together. I keep everybody focused on the future and the things that we should be working on. One of the biggest problems is that I really push for seniors to advance and develop and things like that. So sometimes they will develop their own ideas of doing things, which is perfectly fine. That might be contradictory to another dojo. So I try to find kind of a hybrid model where, that everybody's moving in the same direction. And yet, I sound very strange, but we're all moving forward, but everybody has a side growth as well.
Yeah.
It's important to remain as a family. It's almost like at Christmas time or Easter or Thanksgiving in North America. All the kids come home and everybody has a congenial meal and talks about stuff, and they might be doing different things and have different ideas politically and religiously, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but we're together, we're eating our meal together. Let's reinforce our focus, and that's kind of my mission within our group. So I don't really look at myself as a master this or that, but I'm kind of there's in a Japanese sword you'll have a blade, you have the sai, all the stuff, and you have the little pin, which is a hoagie, a little with linch pin. So I see myself very, very small, but I'm the little bamboo pin that keeps the whole sword together. That's, if I can do that, my job is well done. That's.
So do you run and own and run your own dojo as well?
I'm in partnership with my wife Marion and amazing black belt Vince Cervello. That's as I'm aging, my wife is 68. So we have to look at getting closer to the retirement age. We will never retire. It's not an issue of we'll always be involved, but sometimes. This might be very strange, but some instructors will remain in the dojo and they'll have a junior partner, and they kind of stop the growth because they have their own ideas, things like that. Where people in the 30s and 40s, they have very good ideas. You have to. So we're in a kind of middle ground. Right now where there's a give and take, but eventually we'll move out of the way, and I will allow my my partner to take over the dojo, if you will, and my wife and I will still be involved, training and teaching, whatever. But not really, day-to-day business aspect of it. Running a dojo, but I will always be involved in running NKS, the Northern Karate Schools. So it's because it's really important that somebody oversees. And we live in a society of a lot of the instructors in Japan, Okinawa, they're surrounded. You're talking about the small dojos. The teacher is God. Whatever they can't do no wrong, whatever. But it's important for us to acknowledge our mistakes and really have somebody saying that was good, but you know what, we can do better. And that's how you grow. That's how you develop. If everything you're doing is great, then how can you really be better, right?
Yeah. That's especially when you're running your own dojo. If you've got the 14 other dojo, you can push each other forward as well. Not competing as such, because that, you know, if you're competing against other dojo in your own association, that can cause some
Right. Right.
some friction.
You know, we maintain, you know, geographical boundaries, and you know, in advertising, you know, I make sure that there's, you know, if the student contacts us, we make sure they're vetted out, that they live in a proper area to the dojo, things like that. So there's really there's no problem in that respect. But again, you know, all these people came together as white belts and then, you know, black belts, etc., together. So there's still a relationship. You know, it's not like I said, it's not adversarial. It's still cooperative, even though they, you know, they want to make the dojo successful.
Mm.
But I always say, make your dojo successful, but not at the expense of another NKS dojo.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what is the average? Well, let's track back a little bit. Let's say I've been training with you for 7, 8, 9 years. How do I become an instructor for the NKS, and how do I open my own dojo? What's the process there?
Okay. Well, you know, we have different programs where we kind of look for potential assistants, you know. So we have an MVP program in our school, used to be called a STAR team, which would be teenagers who'd want to help out with warm-ups and, you know, things like looking for shoes, you know, lost socks, whatever, so the instructor doesn't have to do that. You know, taking small groups through simple drills, things like that. And again, we're looking, you know, somebody who has decent martial arts quality, but actually is kind and giving. And, you know, it's almost like looking for a great babysitter in some ways, you know, those qualities of nurturing and you know, caring for the child, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's our kind of MVP program. From the MVPs, they'll become part-time instructors, which will be paid, you know, for some teaching. We have summer camps that we run, so they might have a summer job teaching at camp, you know. And it's, you know, if they're black belts and they're 17, 18 years old, I would much rather they teach for us and get some money than work for the local fast food restaurant, you know, and then lose focus on martial arts. That's basically the you know, the program. But then from there, you have like a team. There'll be some people who will stand out, you know, and those people, of course, will get extra tuition, you know, teaching and coaching, things like that, and they'll become an instructor. You know, it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process. We're always developing team, you know, the teaching team. So that's basically, you know, it's if you have 10 students, you can do everything. You can wash the dojo floor and teach amazing karate and turn off the lights and go home. But if you're dealing with every average dojo will have, the smaller dojo will have 500 students, and the larger dojo will have 1,000 students. There's so much administration involved. Then you need a team. You need somebody to do the payments. You need somebody to do calls, absentee calls, and things like that. You know, it's just massive people moving through. You know, just, you know, the toilet has to be unplugged on a daily basis. You know, things like that. You know,
Yes.
Every 2 hours, the rolls of toilet papers have to be replaced. You know, those are all things which will, you know, may not break your school, but people will realize your school is dirty or not cared for, you know, that kind of stuff. So it takes an army. It takes an army. So in reality, our dojo instructor, I always talk about, they're not really an instructor. Obviously, they will teach their classes, but they're more like an orchestra leader. You know, they have to make sure that every section, every instrument is in tune and playing at the best.
And so after that, how do you choose a location, or how do you choose a dojo? Is it
well, at the beginning was a kind of, you know, your the gut feeling. You know, this would be a great place to, you know, have a location. You know, and obviously there's no martial arts. You know, lots of building, lots of houses, lots of kids walking around, lots of fast food restaurants, and maybe there's lots of kindergartens, whatever, you know, that area. And there's no martial arts school, so it's a prime area. We've done it before in schools like Don Mills and a few other schools, but now we get requests. So actually, we know we're going to open the next school based on the inquiries we're getting. So we're getting a lot of inquiries from an area we don't have schools.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You know, so we have 3 or 4 key areas we identified. It's just a matter of time before we'll open the school there. As long, you know, and again, for me, this is not like you know, like by next year this time there'll be 20 schools, and next year after, I really don't care. I really couldn't care less. It was never about, you know, it was always about the moment. You know, just doing the best you can. And if we open another school next year, fantastic. If it's 2, fantastic. If it's 0, it's fantastic. You know, it's not an issue like that. It's all people driven. You know, there has to be an amazing person to lead a dojo. And, you know, like I said, dojo directors are different from teachers, very different from teachers. You know, dojo directors have to have so many different qualities. They have to be a mentor, a parent, master physical education teacher, historian, and all those things. And those people are very rare. So within thousands of students I taught, there's maybe 20 of them that I've not really developed. It's symbiotic. I help them to develop, but they already have all those great potential, those gifts in them already. So,
have you ever, or I'm sure you have it. How do you tell somebody, look, I don't think that you'd make a good director, or how do you frame it?
Yeah. Well, that's the students that went on their own and opened their own school.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And their schools are successful in terms of dollars and cents, but I don't think they're teaching great martial arts, honestly. And it's just, there's something lacking. There was something lacking in those people, and there's something lacking now. Anybody who has no passion for training, first of all. So if you're teaching and you're not training yourself, and you're preaching about the awesomeness of martial arts, but you don't really practice yourself, why should you be a school director?
I just did an episode not long ago about finding that passion again to do your own training, because as a dojo owner, you can fall into that trap of teaching and not training yourself, because you get so caught up in the business side of the dojo, the management side of the dojo. Yeah, you need to self-motivate to do your own training.
Right. That's I think that's why you have a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot. You have some instructors that live in the past.
Yeah.
They always talk about the good old days, how karate was better 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and how real fighters were there. Whatever. It's just this kind of romanticized idea of the past, because they're not doing anything for the future. So one of the key moments for me was, I think it was 1980, 82, 83, something like that. One of my dojos, I had like 1,000 trophies in there, 6-foot trophies in the window. In North America, you can go to karate tournament and sneeze and get a 6-foot trophy, So I had 6-foot trophies for this and that and then I realized, that's not a good thing. I purged everything. When you purge everything, you get to restart all over again, So I made a mental note that my teaching was about the students. It wasn't about, my students were not there to be, spectators to my glory, but actually I was there to serve them, to make them amazing and great. And to do that, I had to get rid of my own accolades and, titles and all the other stuff. You really have to be, the whole concept of samurai, someone who serves. The same thing with a teacher. The mission of a teacher is to serve the student, and the mission of a great teacher is to make sure your students will surpass you. Right. So if you have students that will never be as good as you, they will never learn the last kata, you're cheating them. You're cheating your students.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of our 3-part series with Cezar. Part 3 will be out very shortly. Thanks, guys. Thank you for listening to Karate Over Coffee. And if you're enjoying the podcast and getting something out of the episodes, there are a few things you can do to help us. If you don't already subscribe to us on YouTube, please do so. We release these episodes every Friday morning, Australian time. Plus, we release some smaller espresso shots during the week on both our YouTube channel and our Facebook community group. You can also subscribe to us on our Apple or Spotify. Leaving a 5-star review will be very beneficial as well. If you have any suggestions or topics or feedback or anything that you want to talk about, please put it in our comment section on our Karate Over Coffee community Facebook group. If you'd like to support us, please visit our online shop where we have official Karate Over Coffee shirts, hoodies and mugs available. Your continued support is appreciated and a vital way for the podcast to keep moving forward. Thanks, guys.